What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Thursday edition Morning Scone presented by Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic and Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Hope you're having a great start to your day. Many of you was hanging out with last night on Nightcap with Scone. I don't know, around 11:30 or so. Thanks to everybody who hung out last night on Nightcap. Really enjoyed doing that and being here on Morning Scone. So it is a camp day. LSU reports to fall camp today, and then they will hit the practice field tomorrow. We did get the schedule, the camp schedule. So if you want, I could share it with you. So they are, most of the practice, I think all the practices are in the afternoon. They don't do 2-a-days anymore. They used to, for a while, split the roster where like freshmen and select veterans would practice in the morning, and then the veterans would practice in the afternoon, or they flip it. But they don't do that anymore. It's, well, oh, there it is, sorry. I was on the wrong page on YouTube. There it is, found it. But now, so they all practice together once, and it's, I think they're practicing in the afternoons this year, so, which is typically the case. So, let me see. And we got the Hall of Fame game tonight, y'all. We actually have NFL football tonight. I mean, it's kind of fake NFL football because, it's the Hall of Fame game, and not many people are actually going to play in the game and whatever. But it's still, they'll be wearing the uniforms. They'll be out there on a football field, running, passing, catching, throwing. It's going to be tackling. It'll be fun. Okay. Let's say some good mornings here. As always, whatever y'all got, fire away. Dagnabbit. Okay. All out of sorts here. Joey Vincent, good morning. Tim Gotro, good morning. Bubba Tatum, good morning. Trivia Carter, good morning. Trey Haydet, good morning. Rich Whitlow, good morning. Bubba Tatum, I was already inside when you got here. Kick rocks, Devil Dog, LOL. Oh, so Bubba is now taking up the fight with Trivia as well. Trivia, you're getting all kind of, people all contentious with you here. Jonathan Martin, good morning. Josh Giraldo, 2 receiver questions. Number 1, does Trey Palmer contribute at all this year? Number 2, does Jack Bech make an immediate impact? I like both of those questions. So, Josh, if it were me, I would have Trey Palmer returning punts and kicks. That would be his very notable way of being involved. As far as being involved in the pass game, I sure hope so. I think, obviously, Kayshon Boutte is going to be your 1, and Jeray Jenkins is your 2, and then I think you have a big, wide open opportunity for everybody else. And I think it's Trey Palmer, Joshua Kirkland, some of the veterans that are hanging around. And then I think there's real Coy Moore, who played a good bit last year, and then there's real opportunity for those freshmen to take reps if it's Chris Hilton and Brian Thomas, those guys. Now, so I indirectly answered your question. Like, do I think Trey Palmer will have a bigger year this year than last year? Yes, I do. Do I think I think he could maybe be like a 2 catch per game guy, so maybe 25 receptions on the season type deal, I think is fair and realistic. So tomorrow's practice, by the way, the media availability is at 4 o'clock. Coach O meets with the media at 6:45 p.m. Saturday practice at 4, Sunday 4:15, Monday 4:15. Yeah, so it's all in the afternoon throughout camp. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's not until next Sunday the 15th that they have their first day off. Wow, they're grinding. And then they're off Sunday the 22nd. Bro, then they're in the game week. Wow, it's almost here, it's crazy. Okay. And, Jack Bech. Yeah, so Ogeron said they're moving Jack Bech to tight end. put some weight on him, and they need to, because listen, y'all, I mean, Eric Gilbert transferred out, and Jalen Shedd is gone now as well. So you have Cole Taylor there, and you have Nick Storrs, who of course came over from the baseball team. You have Aaron Moffitt, who's coming off of injury last year. I mean, that's it. So you need tight ends. So if Besh can be that guy, and that's his fast track to the field, good on him. And I do think he'll play a lot. He's a physical receiver, like, and deceptively fast, because like his feet. When you watch Jack Besh, I've seen him play enough. They played against Catholic. He's a strider. It almost looks like he's kind of effortless because his legs are so long and he strides. But boy, he moves, man. He gets him churning. Let's see. Strong side. Good morning, Scone. We finally have football tonight. Bubba wants that smoke. Kyle Milk, good morning, Scone. Got my first round of the Pfizer yesterday. No side effects report other than a little shoulder sore. It's great to hear that, Kyle. And I don't know if this, because a lot of people have asked me that, Kyle, about side effects. I don't know if it depends on the shot or whatever, but I had none with Pfizer, like no side effects. I didn't even have the arm soreness that some people talk about. Now, just a little tip, if you are going to get the vaccine, and I don't know if this actually worked or helped for me or if it's just coincidence, but somebody had told Erica there's these packets called Liquid IV. And so it's electrolytes and, sodium and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, they said take it a Liquid IV before you get the shot, and then with an hour or two after you get the shot. I did, and I had no side effects, so maybe that helped. Alex Day, good morning. What position battles are you most interested in seeing play out? Running back and safety, I would say. Running back, safety, linebacker, if you want me to give you three. How about those? Reagan Lee, any way to watch things going on at camp? Sorry, Reagan, it's closed to the public. It's only open to media, so no, unless you're a former player. Brian Wynn, good morning. Kelly Presley, Stephen Miller, good morning. A little extra crisp in the air. Football has returned. I'm excited about it, man. Sam Bacon, good morning. Thomas Bergeron, Joseph Babineau. Good morning, Matt. First time back in a while. Well, thanks for coming back, Joseph. Appreciate that. While you're here, why don't you like the page and share the post? Like the page, share the post. And if you're there on YouTube, if you do us a solid, as you know, and smash the like button. Bill Schmid, good morning. Brian Jones, how many practices for fall? Well, let's see. So they practice, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, they don't practice this Wednesday. My bad. I said they practice all the way through. They have Wednesday off. That's my bad. And then Sunday. My bad. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 20 before the UCLA game. Or, excuse me, before UCLA game week. How about that? 20. Shelby, good morning. Who has more questions? LSU or the Saints? Saints. The Saints have more questions. LSU returning 20 starters or whatever it is. Like, they're pretty established in most positions. For me, it's like, whoever just asked about the position battles. So I'm really curious about running back, but I know who the guys are there, right? I'm curious at safety, but we know who the guys in the battle are. The thing about the Saints are, you still need to add a cornerback. You still need to add an interior defensive lineman. You could be benefited by using a receiver, adding a receiver. They still have moves to make to bring people onto the roster. That's the big difference. Bill Schmidt, heard a rumor Miles will only be out 6 to 8 weeks. So, Bill, it's not a rumor. So I had Dr. Stephen Etheridge on AFR, who's the LSU head team physician. And he said with a humerus injury, typically it's 6 to 8 weeks for the bone to heal. So if everything went perfect for Miles, that would be sort of an optimistic view, would be eight weeks. He said if he has setbacks or it doesn't go well, it could be another month or two. I was told yesterday that they would certainly like to have him back, and he'd like to be back before Bama. I would really hope it wouldn't take that long. Brian Jones, they moved Best to tight end, correct? Yes. I don't know if he'll stay there long term, but I mean, just think about it. I mean, next year you've already got 2 tight ends committed for next year. But you need, like I just talked about, you need bodies there. Let's see, Steven. Hopefully Palmer's issues with kick catching improve from last year, and LSU actually has a punt return game. That's a very overlooked shortcoming from a year ago. I think we focus so much offense, defense. We don't talk a lot about special teams. And Cade York is money in the bank. Is Peyton Todd, the freshman from West Monroe, is he could be the punter? I would assume so, but someone's got to replace Von Rosenberg. So who's that? And then Steven pointed out in the return game. I mean, I do not want to see Derek Stingley back there. I want to see Derek Stingley protecting his ACLs and not exposing himself to headhunters on punt return. So you get plenty of fast, athletic dudes. Let them go make their name over there. So DJ Chark did. Leo Williams, good morning. Tony Williams, good morning. Steven, anyone last minute planning the trip for LA to the LSU game? Jacques posted yesterday United Airlines is offering direct flights from Baton Rouge to Los Angeles. Well, that's crazy. That's awesome. Baton Rouge to LA. Jesse McGraw, Matt, give me your true freshman that will make the biggest impact for LSU. I think Mason Smith is the obvious answer. Oh, are we back on YouTube? Hey, we're back on YouTube. All right. That's the first time. Anyway. Yay. Okay. Sorry about that, YouTube. Normally when I've gotten a phone call while doing this and YouTube freezes, it doesn't come back. But it came back this time. That's great. All right. So we roll along. Sorry for the interruption. It looks like the video quality's bad too. So sorry about that, y'all. So Jesse McGraw, true freshman will make the biggest impact. Mason Smith is the most obvious answer. I'm going to go a little bit of a different route. I'm going to give you Sage Ryan. I know they moved Jay Ward back there. I know they brought in Major Burns from Georgia. I really worry about Todd Harris because of his health. He's battled injuries, and I don't know that he's 100%. Jordan Tolles got a shot last year and wasn't great. So I would say that there's the biggest opportunity there. Like, I think there's some great receivers that are going to have awesome careers. There's just a logjam. I think where there's I look for where there's the most opportunity. I think it's at safety. And so I'll give you Sage Ryan. Let's see. Is Baskerville back with the team? Yes, he's expected to report today. Cliff Nelson, good morning. Bubba Tatum, it's not his fault, Matt. Marines are who we send around the world to shock people and destroy things. He's just doing what he's trained to do. Oh, y'all are funny. Kenneth Martin, morning, Matthew. 2 T's, Kenneth. Morning, Brock. Morning, Hudco. Morning, number 15. Good morning, Bourbon Shelf. Wait, I thought this was a nightcap with Scone. I just poured another scotch. We were here not long ago. Spurge, what's up, man? Alex Day, Marine, muscles are required, intelligence not essential. Y'all crazy. Nyquillis, trying to listen to you lay rant from last night. Don't leave nightcaps up. Yeah, I don't know why it hasn't published. It should. Maybe it's just because it was such a long show. Maybe it's like processing. YouTube sometimes takes a long time to do that. Cliff Nelson, can Emery be that Christian McCaffrey type runner receiver threat in this offense? So, Cliff, I hesitate to say McCaffrey. Look, we forget his last year at Stanford. Hang on. I know you said McCaffrey type, but remember what he was, okay? He won every damn award you could win. Should have won the Heisman, too. Come on, load. Okay. So, he ran for 1,603 yards. He, on 253 attempts, mind you, averaged 6.3 yards a carry. He caught 37 passes for 310 yards. The year before, he caught 45 for 645, by the way. And then they don't have his return stats here. Oh, here we go. He also returned 14 kickoffs and 10 punts that year as well. Like, it's hard for me to compare Emery to McCaffrey. He became like the 8th overall pick. So I'm going to not make that comp. But I do think if you're comparing Ty Davis Price and John Emery, Emery is certainly the more versatile back, no doubt. I just don't know if John Emery can catch. That's been his problem since he was on campus. That's why he didn't play more as a freshman, because he couldn't catch. Just flatly, it's why he couldn't catch football. Trivia, just informing fellow veteran, make sure if you're getting the vax, check with your doctor first. A lot of us are having adverse effects due to high level of vaccine most of us have. Interesting. Good info, definitely. Brian and Andy Pinn, good morning from Mount Vernon, Illinois. Football starts tonight, Hall of Fame game. You're nearby there, too. A little closer than we are. Con Milliken, I hope the Cowgirls get their butts beat tonight. Hope Jabril Cox gets to play and has a good game, though. Yep. Truax, what's up, man? Hope the young D-line talent can hold their own. The entire D-line can be fresh and keep the pressure on all game. I do think that's a huge benefit of this LSU team is the numbers at D-line for sure. Will Kamara be more involved in the passing game? Absolutely. I mean, it's hard to be more involved than he already is. I mean, his first 3 seasons, he caught 81 passes on the number each of his first 3 years. So, but yes, I mean, the Saints will be throwing a lot to backs and tight ends. There's no question. What's so funny about Brennan's injury? Humerus. Yes, he broke the humerus bone, like Willis. Neely, hello. Happy birthday, Neely. Hope it's a great day, man. Cowboys couldn't beat the SC LSU Mud Dogs. The landline saved the YouTube feed. Oh, wow. Let's see. Do you think the best version of Emery and Price will remind us of Kamara, Ingram? I guess, so here's my why I hesitate with that. Like, very much understand the question, and I would like to use 2 guys. But if you really think back to 2019, it was Clyde. That was it. I mean, so if you have one guy that could be on the field so that you're not predictable by personnel, I think that's ideal. So, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to using both guys. Fresh legs are a good thing. But I am also really interested to see the freshmen. I mean, Corey Connor was Mr. Football in Ohio, and Armani Goodwin was a was an Auburn commit before you flipped him. Let's see what those young guys got too. Rocker didn't sign contract. He said he's not going back to Vandy. I saw over the weekend that Rocker didn't sign. We talked about that a little bit, but I didn't see where he said he wasn't going back to Vandy. But that doesn't surprise me. Like I can't imagine going and putting more innings, high like taxing innings on your arm. I mean, it would almost benefit him just to like not play this year, rest, and go back into the draft next year. Jonathan Martin, what's this talk about A&M coach calling one of our players trash? I didn't hear or see that, but if you have a link, send it to me, please. As always, I'll shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Brock, of course, you need an orthopedist, go see Brock, they're the best. If you need a roof, call HUDCO, HUDCOroofing.com. By the way, if you're a realtor or you're buying a home, you need an inspection, love to have the opportunity to come help you out. We, as a matter of fact, did that yesterday. My brother and his family moved to New Orleans. They're buying a house. The house that they're buying needed a roof inspection. So HUDCO popped down, did the roof inspection, and getting them on their merry way. So love the opportunity. Brian Jones, will there be fans allowed in the Rose Bowl? I'd like to travel to the game, but afraid it may be a last-minute change. So Brian, I'll reiterate this. I've said it a few times, so those who've heard me say it, sorry already. But I had a conversation on Monday with a doctor in Los Angeles who's a friend, and I brought up that question, and his response was almost like, "Oh, no, absolutely, there's gonna be fans." Like, apparently in LA, it's a completely different reality than it is here. Like, we're seeing this surge to levels, the highest levels since the pandemic began in Louisiana. But apparently in California, they're not. It's more normal. So, I mean, just last week, UCLA announced their beer and alcohol policy. So, I mean, that made me feel a lot better. Like, they're moving forward, which is a good thing. So, let's see. How do we look on the D line? Who are our starters? Who makes an impact? So I think you're going to have. Well, it'd be interesting to see what they do with a guy like Logan, who's played both inside and out. But I would assume that, unless if Joe Evans is one of the starters on the inside, Evans and Farrell, and then you got Gay and Anthony on the outside, or Gay and Logan on the outside. We'll see how they do it. But the point is they got options, right? In some combination. You got Joe Evans, Jaquelin Roy, Jacoby and Guillory. You add Mason Smith to that rotation now as well. Ojulari, he's obviously going to be a guy who we think is going to pop this year out on the edge. You got guys, man. I mean, you have numbers and you have talent on that defensive line. I mean, this is really when you think about Ed Ogeron and his strength as a defensive line coach and certainly as a recruiter. This is kind of what you expect, but low key getting Logan, Farrell, Gay, and Anthony all back makes that group's the potential to be really dominant, because now you've got veteran, like, seniors that have played a ton of football as your starters, and they're backed up by, if it's Evans and Guillory and Gay and like all these dudes who have a ton of potential and have played a little bit, but it's so different when those guys are your fresh legs as your number twos as opposed to your starters. Because if those are your starters, then you're backed up by who, right? If you would have lost all those frontline guys. Now, like, you're starting like Evans and Guillory or Roy, and Mason Smith now is your third. You know what I mean? It's all about depth and fresh legs and a rotation. Remember back in 2013 that happened when they lost a bunch of guys early, like, they just didn't have numbers. No, you know what it was? I'm sorry, it was 14. I think Ego left early and Freak Johnson left early, and what that left them in 14, if you remember, was like your most experienced defensive lineman was Lockachar, who was a sophomore, who, had like 8 tackles the year before, but he was like your most experienced defensive lineman as a sophomore. Like, that's the problem that you would have had if those guys didn't come back. So your starters are guys that should actually be 2 deep guys and rotational guys, but you have numbers this year at that spot. Tony Williams, Matt, what about Sampson, the wide receiver from Catholic High? Where did he commit? He's uncommitted right now, Sheldon Sampson. Number 2 player, or maybe they redid the rank. They redid the ranks. I think Sheldon's maybe the number 4 player in Louisiana for next year. So he's a freak show, man. I would love to see him end up at LSU. Remember, played against his dad, Sheldon Sampson, who went to Redemptorist. Brian Jones, we had bad offensive line play the last few years. I think Burrow covered up a lot of flaws. How do we look this year? We have a ton of experience, but they didn't play well. Yeah, Brian, I mean, I would say that's honestly my biggest concern on this team. My biggest concern on this team is the offensive line. Because, it's not only just about protection, but it's also about being able to run the football. And sometimes we point to running backs, but look, Clyde was amazing at yards after contact in 2019. I need to pull those stats again, just to have it as a reference. So yeah, I mean, the backs making guys miss and getting yards after contact matters, but also like yards before first contact matters, and that was not good last year. So man, I don't know. I don't know about the offensive line. I know who's going to play. The depth is not there. It's the opposite of the defensive line, where you have a ton of depth on defense, you don't on offense. And I just got to see it, man. Just got to see him take that leap. Catherine Marie, good morning. Brian Jones, is Stingley returning any type of kicks this year? God, I hope not. If he does, it would be punts again, but I'm with you. I hope not. Let's see, Walker Howard, number 1 quarterback this year. When was the last time LSU signed the number 1 quarterback? Was Perilou the number 1 quarterback in 2005? If he wasn't, he was close. He was 5-star. He might have been the number 1. Let's see, I see Chris Hill making an impact. People have asked me what freshman receiver makes an impact. That's the name that I give. I think he has the game-breaking ability. I think Hilton is, and from everything I've heard and gathered, he's ready. He's gotten himself ready right now. Let's see, Thomas Bergeron on the roster. Who is 1 or 2 players nobody's talking about that will play this year? Probably Bug Strong, JUCO linebacker. I think we've talked a lot about Mike Jones. And you got Mike Jones at Baskerville and Damone Clark, but I think, the next guy in there is Strong. I think he plays a lot this year. Note to self, 2 to 3 ounce of Lazarek barrel proof is enough. 6 to 7 is too much. Noted, Craig. Noted. Rashad Bolden, what's up, man? Good morning. Kyle Milliken, Matt Bobound said 98% of NFL rosters are interchangeable. I find that an ignorant statement. He was referencing how Gruden hasn't made a playoff run with the Raiders this time. 98% of rosters are interchangeable, meaning like we'll just basically saying you could have whoever on the roster. Like if you put Tom Brady with the Bucks, they win a Super Bowl, that sort of thing. But with Jameis, they're 7-9, which actually isn't factual because there was massive turnover on that roster. As a matter of fact, isn't it said that every player that scored a point for the Bucks in the Super Bowl, none of them were on the roster the year before? It was like Brady, Antonio Brown, Gronk, even the kicker, Fournette. Yeah, I don't think that's like, okay, here, let's take a last place team. If you would have taken, let's say you would have taken Jacksonville last year and put let's say 2 players. Let's take Tom Brady and one offense, one defense. Tom Brady, and give me an edge rusher. Let's say Myles Garrett. Okay, just to really aim high. If you put Tom Brady and Myles Garrett in Jacksonville last year, that's not a playoff team. Um, I mean, I don't think they're picking first overall, but they're not a playoff team. Sorry, Drew's backpack was beeping. He's still in bed. Lazy Bones, Tuesday's back to school. Tuesday, Drew goes back to the new St. Lillian. So I'll be getting up and getting out the house early. So starting Tuesday, we will be doing more than Scone around 7:15, 7:20, and we'll be wrapping up by 8 so I can get him ready to go to school. So we'll be back on our regular weekday type schedule. Let's see. Yeah, so Kyle, I don't know. I mean, obviously, do quarterbacks matter? Oh, absolutely. I mean, can they transform a team in a right? Yes, but the counter argument is, look at what's happening to the Saints right now. I mean, you can't lose Janoris Jenkins and replace him with Prince Amukamara or Brian Poole. You know what I mean? Like, you can't lose Trey Hendrickson and you can't lose Sheldon Rankins, Malcolm Brown, and replace them with Shai Tuttle and Malcolm Roach. You know what I mean? And not expect a drop off. So I think that's not a super smart statement now. Tony Williams, how much time do you think Antoine Sampa and Josh White see this season? Not much, man. I mean, maybe if there's injury or in a backup role. I think at linebacker, those guys have something to prove, man. And I know we're excited about some of them, and you're familiar with guys like Damone Clark. But to be real, man, they gave Damone the number 18 jersey last year, and they brought in Jabril Cox, and neither one of those guys could play inside backer. Like, it was bad. And the problem is, and I've had guys explain this to me, that play, like Derry Beckwith is a great example. Derry explained, he's like, look, man, when you're playing, inside backer, you have to, it's not even so much read and react, it's instinct takes over, and you have to be physical at the point of attack. And we talk about that, and it sounds kind of cliche, but like, you have got to be able to hit an offensive lineman who outweighs you by 100 pounds, shed that block, and go make a play in the wash. If you're trying to avoid contact in the wash, in the scrum, sort of at the line of scrimmage, like, you're going to lose. You're going to be on skates, and that's what happened, man. You had guys that now, when Jabril Cox was out in space, tackle for loss, interceptions, that he was athletic enough and he was great at that. It's almost like he was a better safety than a linebacker. LSU's defense started to change a little bit last year when they played Micah Baskerville, because Baskerville on the inside was a monster. Like, he wasn't afraid of that contact. Afraid is probably not the right word, but he was just more natural. So that's where I look at Mike Jones. Like, Mike Jones has said point blank, he's coming to LSU because he wants to play an inside role. Like, he wants to be a 3-down linebacker, and they're going to give him the opportunity to play. Now, it's basically the same thing they were asking Jabril Cox to do, and Cox couldn't do it well. So, can Mike Jones do it? I hope so. Because if you have Jones at Baskerville, awesome. And then how does Damone Clark fit in this year? And then you also got Buck Strong. Now, Buck Strong was a JUCO kid coming in from Mississippi. He was the #1 linebacker in JUCO, and he is a thumper. Like, we'll see him what he looks like on the field. Some guys struggle to make the transition from JUCO, and some guys have no problem. But he's a thumper on the inside. So you got some options there, man. But I guess my point is, you asked about Sampa and Josh White. Like, I mean, if those are your 5th and 6th linebackers, I don't know where they fit in playing a prominent role. Hey, Dad. Good morning. All right, anybody else? What we got? Rose Bowl at night filled with purple and gold. Going to be a sight to see, and I can't wait to get there. Man, it's so it's a 5:30 kickoff Pacific, so it should be night by the time we'll be right there for dusk. I mean, for nightfall, that will be a lot of fun, man. Eric Wildrotter, Bet Online has lines up for some bigger games. LSU. Oh God, sorry. LSU plus 21 against Bama. Wow. -6.5 against Auburn. Yeah, I'm not surprised about Auburn. That's what I think we talked about that with Jimmy a few months back when the first lines were posted. I think LSU's going to be about a 6.5 against Auburn. And then Everett, Florida, Ole Miss, A&M, like Mississippi State are all going to be like field goal point spreads one way or the other. It was a really interesting combo. Bama 21 is, God, I hope not. What about Mason Smith? Feels a little quiet. I mean, if it's quiet, it's just because it's the summer. I fully expect him. I mean, especially as an early enrollee, a guy who got out there during the spring to be out there and be part of the rotation. Jacques Fondo, morning, Matt. How do you think the swing O-line position is coming along? What's the word? I think Martinez will be a shocker. So it's important to know, Jacques, they don't hit the practice field till tomorrow. So, how it's coming along is a little presumptive because they haven't been on the field yet. Ogeron has said, you know who your starters are. Cam Wire fills in for Darryl Rosenthal, left tackle. The rest are all the same. And the next two are, as he's put it, Anthony Bradford and Garrett Dellinger. So, when Bradford, who didn't play a ton last year, and Dellinger, who's a true freshman, are the next two, that really concerns me. What happened to all the depth, the guys that have been here for 2 and 3 years, not taking that step? So, maybe Marlon Martinez is a guy that takes a big step this year. But boy, I am really, really, really leery about that O-line, man. It just, and especially because of the lack of depth. Because just the nature of that position is guys get hurt. And what do you do when someone goes down? So, anyway, I think this has got to be better. This has got to be better this year. All right, y'all, I think we're just about done. Is that it? We've got a couple more over here. Mark, what's up? LSU could win 10 games. Could. I think they're 9-3. I've said that. I'll stick to that. But 10 would be awesome, man. Who else did the Pelicans sign in free agency? I don't know, man. I am anxious to see Griff's plan, though. Well, the walkers are out. My goodness. Like 3 people walking right now, right in this little intersection. Hey, when are they going to wear the unis who wore against Mississippi State a few years back? They were clean. So, I actually know the answer to this. Those particularly, not again. So LSU, in their deal with Nike, will wear an alternate uniform once per season because LSU wears their whites at home. Well, now they do wear the purple for non-conference home games outside of the home opener. So they'll wear white against McNeese, but then they'll wear purple against Central Michigan and ULM. But every other game at home, they'd have their whites and they'd wear the whites on the road. Well, Nike wants its affiliated schools in different uniforms. So LSU, as part of the contract, will wear an alternate every year. Now, they didn't last year, I'm sure COVID, like they had it planned for a certain game, I'm sure, but COVID disrupted all that. So I don't know what game it is this year, but just think back, like if it was like the South Carolina game back in 2015, Fournette had the purple jersey, white pants, the ones you referenced against Mississippi State. They've had like the other, what do they call the war? It's like a ode to the military history of the schools. Anyway, point is, Nike puts together an alternate uniform every year with some consultation with LSU, but LSU is going to have an alternate. That's part of their contract with Nike, that they'll wear an alternate one game a year. Hey, John Molassol, good morning. Brian Jones, is Cardell Thomas a backup at best right now? Yeah. You'd look to next year, barring injury this year to somebody, you'd look to next year's fourth year on campus and say, you're losing your entire starting offensive line. You would think he'd be a guy that would step in and start next year. Jared Clark, Honeycutt, Garrett Temple coming back to the Pels. I texted Garrett. I'm sure he's inundated. I texted Garrett yesterday, try to get him on the show. I would love to catch up with him. It's been a minute, but yeah, I'm excited that he's coming home. Garrett's married and has a son now, a young son, and they have a home in Baton Rouge. So I know his family's all here. So it's great for them to be just an hour away to be able to see him play the rest of his career here. All right. Matt, you need an intern to go to practice. We'll get somebody out there, man. The alpha in the safety room who's going to step up and be that alpha. Todd Harris is a veteran. Just curious if he's healthy. He obviously wasn't last year. But if he's healthy and ready to roll, I'm excited to see what he can do in his final year. All right, y'all. Let's wrap this thing up, man. Thanks for watching. Y'all have an awesome day. As always, brought to you by Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, and Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. We appreciate y'all for being here as always. If you're on Facebook, please like the page, share the post, YouTube, please smash that like button. Only 21 likes. Let's get that number up, please. And come up a little bit, Locked On LSU, and then AFR3. Okay, y'all. Have an awesome day. We'll see you.